And that's really what birthed, that moment is what birthed my bodybuilding, weightlifting career.
PR lifestyle is more than just hitting a PR on the squat, bench, or deadlift. It's about being the best version of yourself, always improving.
Come on, somebody out there sitting working harder than you. Somebody gonna outwork you. Somebody outwork you right now.
You versus you.
When I think about yesterday, my oh my.
Today we have a very special video for you guys. I have returned to where everything started. I am here in St. Martin, right now on the Dutch side, just 5 minutes from the airport. As you can see on my right, absolutely stunning views. I wasn't here since I was about 15 years old, so it's been about 15 years, 14 years. I'm 29 in a couple of months. I haven't returned to this place ever since, and I remember the island, but I don't remember it having this impact on me visually. Just being here, taking in the scenery, and appreciating the lifestyle for what it is as an adult versus a teenager is what I'm looking forward to in the next 24 hours. Let me show you guys inside. So this is the room for just a little over $100 a night. It's a 2-bedroom. We got a full kitchen here, all the appliances, full-size refrigerator, stove. I mean, honestly, you can live here with the beach quite literally at your feet, just a few steps away, for under $3,000 a month. Absolutely incredible. Then we got a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, proper size living room. I mean, we're not gonna be spending much time in here, but I've never been in a hotel that has had quite this amount of size or view or at beach access for such an inexpensive rate. So already off to a great start. This is our first stop on the trip so far. We're gonna store our bags here, and then we're gonna head over to my old stomping grounds, Grand Casse, over on the French side. And I'm gonna do my best to recreate my workout that I used to have 14 years ago when I first started. Right now, we're on our way to Grand Casse. We got a Jeep Wrangler. I think this is the best car to drive on an island. Maybe later when it gets a bit less humid and hot, we'll pop the top and just enjoy that evening Caribbean breeze. We're in early October right now, so weather is absolutely fantastic. As a New Yorker, I appreciate this warm climate more and more every day. Island is absolutely tiny. It's divided in 2 sides, the French and the Dutch side. Grand Casse is where I used to live on the French side. And from our hotel, which is literally 3 minutes out from the airport, Grand Casse is only a 19-minute drive. And that's if you're following the speed limit, taking your sweet time. So we're just 10 minutes out. I'm going to show you guys my routine, what I used to do as a kid, being 14 years old here in St. Martin, not being able to go to school because at the time, I don't know if that's changed, but there was only one English school on the island. It was private and we couldn't afford it. And there was no way I was going to be able to learn French and Dutch. And by that I mean I had no interest in learning. So shame on me. But what that meant was I was out of school and I was too young to work, too young to join a gym. You had to be 16. And I had an enormous amount of free time on my hand. If anyone was able to die from boredom, I did that many times. What I ended up doing to fill that time is just find a way to expend energy. And I suppose that's one of the reasons why people that are in prison turn to working out, because it helps you use up all that pent-up energy from not being stimulated in any shape or form. So not being able to go to a school or join a gym or work or any kind of after-school program, basically not being able to do anything besides ride my bike around the island, which I did every day for hours, by the way. And even back then, my calves weren't big. So there's no hope. It's all genetics. Anyways, I'm gonna try and find a broomstick and cinder blocks in one of these back alleys like I used to back in the day and replicate my old routine. It would be a mixture of that, some push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. Leg day was basically riding my bike, but to be honest, I don't remember how my legs looked back then because I never liked to look at them. So on this particular street, I remember walking down late night for whatever reason. Maybe our car broke down at the time or we couldn't find public transportation. But I remember vividly, I, for some reason, had a baseball bat in my hand. I didn't play baseball, so I don't know why I had one in my hand. But maybe it was just for protection. I thought, you know, one day if anyone wanted to mess with my mom, I'd have a baseball bat and I'd fucking swing the shit out of it and kill him if you ever come to that. We were walking down that super steep hill and we were getting harassed. I remember just a group of what seemed to be hoodlums just looking for trouble. And I was clenching that baseball bat so tight, I thought like I would actually have to fend off some fiends. And it's just one of the memories that I have on the island. I was just very uncomfortable. I mean, we're talking about the late 2000s here in St. Martin. I don't know how the culture has changed since then, if there's still a lot of gang activity, but back then, I remember going to a parade and it was nothing but colors, blue and red. I mean, teenagers here at the time, I feel majority of them were involved with the gang in some shape or form, or at least wanting to be a part of it by wearing colors, really just red and blue. Even I was at the time. I wanted to be a part of something. I wanted protection. I wanted to be a part of a community. And I didn't actually partake in any gang activity, but I would wear colors and wear a bandana. I thought it was cool. 14-year-old Larry, total idiot. And there's just so much mischief that, you know, I got up to while out here. But it's only dangerous if you go looking for it, right? And I think there's nothing more dangerous than an idle mind, and you know, give a teenager nothing but free time, you're gonna get up to some nonsense. The island feels so much smaller now that I can drive. See, back then I could only get around by using public transportation, which was these really small hot buses, or ride my bike. So I chose to ride my bike, and I remember these streets so well, just dripping with sweat, heaving, you know, just trying to get from point A to B, trying to get to where my friends were on the other side of the island. And maybe, sure, from the airport to Grand Cots is a 20-minute drive, but on a bike, looking at about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So now that I'm driving here for the first time, the island just feels so much smaller, my God. And everything seems so much more vivid and green, because back then I needed glasses. So I can only see about 6 feet in front of me clearly. Beyond that would be hazy, fuzzy. So now I got perfect vision, could do LASIK. That was the best procedure I've ever had done on myself, between that and my teeth, when I went to Dubai and tried making some good money. I can really appreciate the beauty of St. Martin. And my mom was like, now that you're there, you can really appreciate it as an adult, and she's so right. Anything, just being able to see it clearly. You know, back then, again, like beyond 6 feet in front of me, everything was fuzzy. So I could care less about the beauty of the island if I couldn't really see it clearly. And I was too stubborn to wear glasses. I hated having that the glasses rest on the bridge of my nose. Anyways, we're going to be there in a couple of minutes. Grand Cost is a small community that, at least at the time, was littered with restaurants, just back-to-back restaurants. I remember having the best chicken of my life just across the street from where I used to live. I'm hoping the restaurant's still there. Don't ask me what it's called, no clue, but I'll know when I see it. So we just entered Grand Cost. This is the beginning of the community. We're gonna get to a bridge within a couple of minutes. That should be alongside the coast. The water is literally in the next lane over on the left. The island's so small that I feel you can get from one side literally to the other in about 5 minutes. So we're gonna have to do a little driving around to see exactly where my old villa used to be. But I do remember it was right next to a bridge in a back alley. And I don't remember there being too many bridges here in Grand Cost. And I remember beneath the bridge, there was a large colony of crabs. So I remember this bridge very well. Beneath this bridge, there would always be a colony of crabs, just an army of them. and I would play in the sand over here. I believe there was some kind of fruit that I would pick from this tree and eat it. I used to live quite literally a few steps that way on the water, but without an ocean view. The apartment actually had no windows from what I recall. It was pretty dark and dungeony. And I got a broomstick in my hand because we're gonna try and replicate what I would do for biceps and triceps and all that stuff. Basically replicate my workout with a broomstick and cinder blocks that I used to do way back then. So, memories all coming flooding back. Just me riding my bike through here every day, day in, day out, for hours on end until I just had no energy left and I can finally crash at home. Remember, I had nothing else to do. So, before someone kicks us out of this property, I don't know if we're on their property line or not yet, we're gonna try and do a couple of bicep curls with a broomstick and cinder block that we just literally found on the street. Okay.
Damn. That's how it went.
That's how it went.
Yeah.
Look, I had so many scratches and scrapes as a kid. Got so spoiled as an adult with fancy gyms and all the best equipment that I can ever dream of being built into my new gym coming soon. Looking at Jan, February, by the way, for OG Gym. It really just be bicep curls, skull crushers, push-ups, pull-ups. I would do it pronated and supinated. I would do sit-ups, ride my bike every day for lower body. Wouldn't do any back though. So why I have such a good deadlift is I still had an early start. Started deadlifting when I was 16, basically when I could join a real gym. The cinder blocks are good when you're doing isolated movements, but if you have to use big weight, you know, you can't, what's up, man? Chillin'? Trying to use big weight, the cinder blocks just ain't enough. Absolutely stunning landscape. I kid you not, I don't remember any of this mountainous terrain back then. Probably because my eyes were so bad I couldn't see it, so I couldn't appreciate it. But it all just seems so much smaller. Granted, I'm taller, I'm bigger, and I've seen a lot of the world now. It seems just bite-sized compared to back then. It just seemed like this massive basketball court, this huge field. Now, it looks small, much smaller than what I remember it. Used to come here damn near every day and play ball, and I was absolutely ass at it. I remember getting into some beef with one of the tough guys from the neighborhood here, and I was standing. Oh, look at that iguana! Holy shit! I remember being in this exact spot, getting into some beef with one of the kids in the area, and he called me out. Said, hey, come to the court at so-and-so time. I want to settle this. So being the idiot that I was, I went to the court alone. And I remember I had a couple of friends, I'm remembering their faces now, that said, look, I have to live here the rest of my life. I'm not going to pick a fight with these guys. Sorry, you're on your own. If you want to go in there and prove something, that's on you. So I went in there. Idiot. And it was just me right here, standing, looking at about 20 kids, all teenagers. And I remember they did not like me at that point because I was an outsider. I was a New Yorker, right? Here in their community, right? There was some beef I had with one of the kids, wanted to settle it. And the kid who was born and raised here had the support of all the islanders, right? So naturally, they're not going to take my side. Like in New Yorker, they thought I was like a rich, spoiled kid coming in here and starting beef. So I remember he took a basketball and just launched it on my face. I ate it, and he basically got in my face and said, well, what are you going to do about it? And I just said, you know what? Nothing. So I walked my bitch ass off the court, back home, cried myself to sleep, because what am I going to do? Try and fist fight 20 teenagers by myself? This isn't the Matrix. You know, I would have gotten killed. It was suicide. So pick and choose your battles, and so many mistakes made as a ego-driven kid, struggling with self-esteem and depression. And I remember from that point onward, I felt like I was just totally ejected from the community, and I isolated myself in my home. I remember I didn't see daylight for months. I got hooked on two things: World of Warcraft and working out. So I got several shades lighter. I was almost Caucasian. Not exaggerating. I wish I had a photo from that time, because I literally did not spend any time outside. I didn't want to socialize with any kids from here anymore. From that day onward, I was just totally like, okay, I got too many enemies here now. It's just too dangerous for me. You know, I'm not going to be the punching bag of the community. I'm going to stick to myself. I was just deep in isolation. And that's really what birthed. That moment is what birthed my bodybuilding, weightlifting career, right? I was frustrated. I couldn't go to a gym, couldn't go to a school. You know, I wasn't able to make friends here. So it was just me and the weights. So I used to live right here for about a couple of years. And it was a small 2-bedroom with, at least in my room, no windows, total dungeon, just optimal breeding ground for a World of Warcraft addict. And besides that, as I said, I was just trying to work out, burn some energy. I remember my mom was just working one job, single. She was a waitress working at a restaurant down the street. And then she was also bartending, I think, at another job on the French side of the island later on. It was about $500 a month, if I recall correctly. And guys, follow me. Remember, right here. And you got the ocean at your feet. Quite literally, you can swim in. I mean, they're in swimming trunks. There's a woman in there right now. We're gonna make it quick before they kick us out. It's semi-private property. But I just wanted to show you guys that it could be extremely inexpensive here to live. Very high quality of life. $500 a month. Granted, this was late 2000s, even still. And you have the ocean 10 steps from your doorstep. You got restaurants a couple minutes away. I mean, it was a good lifestyle. I mean, if my mom was to make a bit more money, a bit more comfortably, then we may have been able to live here longer. But money was a bit too tight. I don't remember exactly what she was earning as a waitress, but I believe she was surviving mostly off tips, as a wage here for a server is low. And even though the rent was $500, you know, most places that's very inexpensive, very affordable considering what you're getting. But it was too tight considering it wasn't only herself she had to take care of. She had to take care of a growing beast. So I'm ever grateful that, you know, she took me here and I got to experience this life. I mean, this is something that you read about in books and you see in vlogs. This is a true island lifestyle. I got to experience that for a significant amount of time. I have a lot of fond memories here. I have a lot of bad ones too, but it's not all bad. And because of what transpired here, I was able to discover weightlifting, bodybuilding, and that was a treasure. You know, that really kickstarted my career. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it for years later. But because I was so in love with it, you know, because of the circumstances, it allowed me to become obsessed, and that obsession is what drove me to be successful.